Dead Peasant Radio.
We must have faith in each other.
Of informing and alerting.
Faith in our ability to govern ourselves.
Dead Peasant Radio.
It's now the most important task we face.
You are listening to Dead Peasant Radio.
Sometimes even anger. Public opinion.
What can we do? Face the truth.
Hey, thanks for listening to Dead Peasant Radio. The first part of this podcast, up until about 12 minutes in, the caller is a little low in volume, but that gets fixed. So if you can't handle it, just fast forward a little bit. It takes 2 seconds, jump up to 12 minutes, and you'll be happy. It might even be 13 minutes or 14 minutes. I don't know, but you'll figure it out because you got smart ears. Peace. What are you doing?
I was just about to call you.
You're live on the air, kid.
Oh my God! You give me these cold starts, and it really gives me the prickly heat.
Oh shit! All right. Well, we don't have to start right now. Are you comfortable?
No, that's fine. What are you doing?
Nothing, man. I was waiting for you to call. I didn't know if you were calling.
No, I was just trying to get my shit together. You know, I gotta get my computer and my charger, and I gotta go upstairs to the landline.
Oh man, podcasting is so hard. If you're not ready yet, man, I can call back.
I'm perfectly ready. I just poured a beer.
All right, good, man. Well, so we're gonna like kind of continue from where we left off last week. I figured, right?
All right.
Should I refresh the people? Yeah, last week we were talking about Gnosticism and what that's all about in their creation story. I think we were going to try to figure out some if there was any truth to the comments that the Roswell UFO didn't actually crash in Roswell.
Oh.
Yeah, and
which one do you want to talk about first?
well, we can talk about the Roswell one real quick because there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't really look into it anything, further than all the documentaries and History Channel things that everyone's seen over the years.
Yeah, so really what the story is that supposedly there's a town called Truth and Consequence that the UFO really landed in, and I couldn't find anything on the Google machine about Truth and Consequence as having anything to do with the Roswell landing. Nothing. I even pulled up...
How did that rumor get started then?
Well, I was listening to a pretty popular podcast that I'm sure a lot of our listeners listen to, the Higher Side Chats, and they had some guy on there. And sometimes I wonder what some of these people are doing on the show. Because, some of them are real crackpots. And it's just...
There's a lot of woo-woo peddlers out there, right?
Woo-woo peddlers. People trying to sell science fiction books as, non-fiction, history never known, unsolved mysteries.
Or people trying to sell tickets to go see the body of an alien that's actually a mummified 2-year-old boy.
Yeah, or,
You heard about that one recently, right? Went down to Mexico?
Jesus, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
That really happened?
That really happened, man. Listen to any of the UFO podcasts and they'll talk about it. This group of, what do they call themselves? Not truthers. They're all for, damn it. Anyway, they're all about exposing that aliens are real, supposedly, and a group of them got this evidence, supposedly these slides that came out of, maybe it was Roswell, I'm not sure, Area 51 or whatever, these new slides that had been hidden away for decades of this alien body, and they hyped it up for months and had this big release date party, and you had to pay a ton of money to go and see them in this live presentation, and it turned out to be a bunch of bullshit. It was 9 hours of build up to show these 2 slides, and within hours, doctors that were there and saw the pictures were like, oh no, that's a mummified 2-year-old boy. You know?
Wow. Like,
It was all bullshit.
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I always look into that stuff because you never know. But if you pull up the Roswell Daily Record from that day, it says nothing about a town, truth or consequence. And if it was going to be anywhere, that's where it would be.
Yeah.
You know, in that original newspaper. They wouldn't lie about the town in the original newspaper. I don't
Well,
know.
that was the interesting thing about the Roswell crash is that it was back in the day when, you know, information spread very slowly. But so the fastest news to get out was the local newspaper being printed, which was the next day, and they reported it as a flying saucer. And then, you know, the shit hit the fan, as it were, with the government, and the next thing you know, they were running a story saying that it was a weather balloon or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I can't quite put a nail in the coffin of this rumor because it actually, this is what it says exactly in the newspaper. It says the flying object landed on a ranch near Roswell sometime last week. So it doesn't actually say that it landed in Roswell. It says near Roswell.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was in an area in a time when there were tiny little towns that were like 8 buildings surrounded by, you know, endless farmland. So,
Which sounds beautiful to me because modern America makes me sick.
yeah, the box stores
And
everywhere looks the same.
did you see my tweet today on Dead Peasant podcast Twitter handle?
I did not.
My flare gun and the thermostat in my truck said it was 99 degrees in the city in June. Not even June. It's not normal.
In New Hampshire?
Yeah. It was so hot in the city today. I was like, I have to inspect this. It was burning my skin through my shirt. Like, you know when you're getting a sunburn, you can feel it happening? I could feel that through my skirt, dude. Through my skirt. Through my shirt. I wasn't wearing a skirt. No, through my shirt. And I don't burn. You know me. I got that dark olive skin, man. It's like, it was
Summer
great.
pumpkin, I believe it's called.
Summer pumpkin is my skin tone. So I busted out the flare gun when I got home, and sure as shit, dude, out in the middle of the cul-de-sac, 94 degrees in the country.
That's wild. It wasn't that hot here. We're usually hotter than you. You guys are hitting,
Well, the news claims, and I was about a mile down the street from the news station all day. The news claimed it was like 90 today, which was bullshit. They don't want to scare the people. They did it all winter too with the snowstorms.
oh yeah?
They're like, oh yeah, it's like at first, you know, they really fed on it, and they were like, oh, get your stuff to weather the storm. You know, it's gonna be a bad one. And then like halfway through the storm, when the snow was 6 feet deep and consuming cars and roads, they were like, we're getting more snow on Friday, and it would end up being like 13 inches of snow. We just got murdered this year. The weather is.
New Hampshire's been blasted this year.
Dude, the weather is so wacky up here. The spring has been so incredibly hot, and the winter was like just brutal.
What
Absolutely.
they're saying, that the global climate change is just more extreme temperatures on either end of the spectrum, in your experience?
Well, about a few weeks ago, I literally told everybody in the family, and you can ask everybody up here, I said that something wacky's going on. I can just feel it, man. The trees, the pollen was so thick this year one day, it was like a yellow cloud. You couldn't see through it. Like, it almost made you think you were losing your vision because you couldn't see, like, depth. You couldn't see deep, you know?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, no, the pollen was off the chain down here this year, too.
Yeah.
Sucks for me.
well,
Just those allergies.
one of the reasons I wanted to look into this Roswell thing was because when this guy that was spitting the woo-woo said this. I wish I had his name because I'm all about calling out people like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it is. Like,
There's a lot of those woo-woo peddlers running around talking about Gnosticism, too.
yep,
I'm not going to call out anyone specifically because I'm not all that well read on the subject myself, but I know that there's guys out there on these different esoteric podcasts that are talking about these definite things within Gnosticism, as though Gnosticism is an actual religion. And from what I've been reading, it's not really even, like, there's no religion of Gnosticism. There's just,
well,
there's an idea,
Yep.
there's a title of Gnosticism applied to this way of approaching creation and philosophy.
it's
There
a
are these guys out there that are relating it to aliens and reptilians, and then they take it into like the whole anti-Jewish thing, which is just like, all right.
yeah.
Now, there's guys that are out there spinning woo in every direction.
Well, I know what you're saying because it's like Gnosticism stems from Buddhism, I believe, right? Is that what they were saying?
Not really. It has some things in common, some basic fundamental things in common with Buddhism. So, like, all religions acknowledge that the world is flawed, and they disagree or agree on, why it's flawed and what you do about it, right?
Yep.
But what Buddhism and Gnosticism have in common is that they recognize, they recognize that there's suffering in the world, and that, everyone has to create suffering to even survive, right? We've got to eat animals, and animals eat each other, and animals eat plants, and that's even creating suffering. And so Gnosticism and Buddhism are sort of in the same boat there, and they sort of both recognize the human condition as being absurd and a sort of flawed process into itself, and it's about how you deal with it,
Yeah.
that creates you. But what's interesting about Gnosticism is that they don't blame like the world being imperfect on people, right? Like in the book of Genesis, we learn that it's because of what Adam and Eve did, despite their infallible creator that made the world imperfect. And Gnosticism says that, excuse me, I'm drinking beer. Gnosticism sort of states that the world is imperfect because God fucked up. And that the God that fucked up in creating us is created from an overarching God that they call Sophia, and he's sort of a manifestation of a flawed aspect of her personality in a way, right? So there's this sort of false God that she created, who believes that he created, man and heaven and earth, and that he's the only God. But he doesn't even realize that he's just a reflection of this one particular entity in this whole system of gods that the Gnostics called the Aeons, I believe. And they have names like Sophia, which means wisdom. They have names like, what are some of them? Incorruptibility, I think, is one of them. And then there's, so that those are all sort of, archetypal and symbolic aspects of human psychology, right? Those overarching gods that stand above this one God who thinks he's done it all. And then there is a one in Gnosticism. There isn't like a one fully overarching God, but he didn't create anything anyway. So at the end of the day, it's really like a religion or a philosophy or a collection of religions that have been labeled as Gnosticism, and they all sort of share the belief that the God of the Old Testament that Jewish people call Yahweh, I believe, is sort of delusional in his belief that he's the one creator.
Hmm.
Yeah, but what's disturbing is like how many people are, like we were saying before, are out there saying like, oh no, there's this religion, this secret ancient religion that it predates all of them, and it actually has the answers. Well, no, that's not the truth, you know.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you're sort of doing the same thing that this false creator god that the Gnostics call the demiurge, right? You're doing the same thing that he's did, you know.
Hey, 1 second. So Gnosticism is older than Christianity, right? That's how I take it. It's a lot older.
There are Gnostic texts that certainly were written 100 years after Christ, right? But then again, so were all the Gospels of Christ.
Yeah.
Like nothing was written about Jesus until 70 years after his death. Some of the Gnostic Gospels are written a few hundred years after his death. But there's also things that those Gospels reference and traditions that are included in some of the Gnostic philosophy that predate Christ by hundreds of years.
Yeah. It's interesting. If you go to Wikipedia, it says this about Jesus and the Gnostics. Jesus is identified by some Gnostics as an embodiment of the Supreme Being who became incarnate to bring Gnosis to the earth, while others admittedly denied that the Supreme Being came in the flesh, claiming Jesus to be merely a human who attained divinity through Gnosis and taught his disciples to the same.
Right, so that would be the Christian Gnostics, though. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that would be some of the quote-unquote Gnostic texts that would have been written, you know, well after Christ's death and well after the Christian Gospels were written. But
Yeah.
there's also much more ancient stuff that, when you start to really get into it and what it's trying to say to you is it's very much related to the sort of ancient Egyptian mystery schools that you're familiar with and the basic philosophies of Hermeticism and all of that, you know.
I think that what makes a philosophy not perfect but safe is philosophies with no place of ritual, right? Like something like Taoism, where it's kind of practiced individually, you know?
Yeah.
But then you get people who break off, right? And they form like a division. They call it something different. They get a physical location and they start just forming this, for lack of a better word, but cult.
Yeah.
That over a period of a couple hundred years with the right programming, you can get to literally to die for your philosophy, right? To believe they have 12 virgins waiting for them, or to believe there's a heaven and a hell. And that's what makes it dangerous. So Gnosticism is more like Taoism, but people took its teachings and kind of used it in culty-cunty ways, and that's what you get in our modern culture.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, anytime you start to put a label on things, and you
gets
get one
dangerous.
person or a group of people that say that they have more answers than anyone else, religions are going to form, and somebody's going to get fucked over.
Someone's getting shot.
That's why you have to take the Daniele Bolelli approach, and you have to create your own religion. You know.
Totally.
Approach religion and philosophy the way that Bruce Lee approached martial arts. It has to be like a Jeet Kune Do religion. You take what works in Taoism and you apply it to your life, and you take what works from what Christ supposedly said, and you apply it to your life, and you throw out the bullshit that doesn't work. You can lose the I hate gays stuff that's in the Bible, and you can lose all of the beat your slave the right way and God won't be pissed stuff that's in the Bible. But you can go ahead and not murder. That's good stuff.
Yeah, totally. Well, Do you know anything about did you learn anything about their creation story, about the beings in the black hole, the center of the galaxy?
I found none of that. That's what I'm talking about when I
Yeah.
say that there's these people out there that are saying there's this definite thing about Gnosticism, and here it is. You know, like I found none of that. Like the description that guy gave, and other people, maybe not other people, only him. I've only heard him describe it like these swirling energy patterns at the center, like of the galaxy. I found none of that. I found, you know,
I know.
the
I couldn't.
fire, but
I've read the entire Wikipedia page on Gnosticism, and I didn't see one thing about that.
me neither. That's what was confusing me.
Huh.
But there's there's a lot of contradictory information because there's so many different groups that were labeled as the Gnostics over many centuries.
Yeah.
So there's many different stories that are applied to it, and like this, my favorite entity that they have is incorruptibility. Just because I love that concept, that name. It's a word that I've never heard, but outside of this context, but it's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Incorruptibility. If you have that, then you're incorruptible. You're like better than Superman, right? And that I can't figure out if that is one of these aeons, so one of these many deities that stand between the false world that the God of the Bible created and us, and this overarching fundamental God that has no apparent name. Or I've also read it as incorruptibility is the name of that one overarching God, and he or she is not one of the aeons, right? So, there's all kinds of contradictory stuff, but nowhere did I hear them described in the fantastic and, very science fiction way that one particular scholar was describing them on that podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Great stories, though. Like, if it was...
Great story.
If
Fantastic.
it was blatantly, like, science fiction or, like, made into a movie, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that angle is kind of being worked.
Yeah, that's...
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Makes for good comic books.
Good woo.
Yeah.
Woo.
Woo. Yeah, well, speaking
The
of...
way that the Gnostics do describe creation, right, is sort of interesting to me because, so there's our planet and Earth that we live on, and there's the God of the Bible that we know of as our creator, and he thinks he is the only God, but it's all false, and it's what they call emptiness, like the realm of the aeons, or the entities that stand above that false God from the Bible, is what I forget the word that they use for it, but it means the fullness, and where we live is the emptiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about that from a psychological standpoint, and what that sort of means about us,
Yeah.
kind of interesting. And then there's the real God above the fullness, right? And I don't know, that sort of a basic interaction or that kind of dichotomy is interesting when you consider that, like, scientists are I feel like they're days away from proving that we just live in a hologram.
Yep. Have you seen the new Through the Wormholes?
Through the Wormhole. Is that the one with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
No, that's the one with Morgan Freeman dressed like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I did not see that one.
They got one, it's called Do We Live in a Matrix? And they're pretty much on the verge of proving that when atoms fly through space, they actually move in like a step pattern,
Mm-hmm.
which indicates that there might be some kind of grid that they have to move on.
I'm trying to. Yeah, that's really fucked up.
Right?
The simulation theory thing is a mind bender because it very well could be true. That I'm trying to find the article. I think I emailed it to you about how they've proved that like matter doesn't exist until it's observed.
Oh yeah, that's an old one, man. It's the
Where is that?
dude. There's a lot on that, on YouTube, man. The observer effect. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So just the other day in my golf league, I was golfing, and I was telling my golf partner, I was teaching him how to putt, and I said, "Listen, man, everybody slaps at the ball. Like they bring their club head back, and when they putt the golf ball, they like slap at the ball, and then it's like they slap the ball down this line towards the hole. But my golf putt stroke is I push straight through, right? Like I push the ball to the target. And it still pings off my club head, but I continue the club head just behind the ball without touching the ball on the direction I want it to go. And
Okay.
he's a scientist, and I explained this to him by using the observer effect as an example. I said, look, they claim that just by observing something, it behaves differently. So when you slap the ball, you're cutting off the observer effect, and you're putting it just on sheer luck by the universe that it rolls down the line you see into the hole. But when you push the ball at the hole and you follow your club head on the path to the hole, it's like you're observing the future and you make it happen. And my putting's incredible, dude. I am known as one of the best putters around. Crushed.
That sounds like some Chevy Chase. Leave the ball, Danny.
You know what's funny, man?
What he was talking about, right?
Yeah, and everyone back then and still now considers that woo-woo, and it's not woo-woo. Trust me, start doing that, and you'll thank me. I'm going to shave strokes off your golf game.
I'm gonna try it in jiu-jitsu.
Even when you drive a golf ball, right? Everybody just focuses on slapping the ball. But what I do is I focus, and even when I'm hitting the ball, when I'm carrying my arms up through, I'm like pushing the ball on the path I want it to fly. And I say it's like don't be the ball, be the path in which the ball can only fly on. Create that path.
If you will it, it is no dream.
It works, man. And the funny thing is he's a scientist, literally. And he took it very serious. He was like, no, you're right. That totally makes sense. And he even like named the scientist that discovered it. Like he's a total nerd, you know?
Yeah.
You got to apply that stuff to your life.
So, are the Gnostics, are they right in their fundamental view of creation, and that where we live is just a false reflection of reality?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
is it a simulation? What do you think?
do I think it's a simulation? I think it's already happened. Whether or not reality's already happened, or the program is just continuing
Time
on.
isn't linear. It has to have already happened because time isn't linear. Right?
Yeah.
We know that.
And we live in a delay. Like by the time our brain processes reality, it's already really gone by.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a trip, you know, and
That's
it's
why everything has deja vu in it, right?
well. I believe we live in a vibrational pattern, a vibrational universe, being that cymatics makes everything exist, and that is vibration. And when these scientists say that these atoms are flying in a step pattern, almost as if they have to follow a grid, I think really what's happening is that their computers aren't strong enough yet to round off those corners. What you're going to see is that step pattern in the future is actually going to more develop into the shape of a perfect microscopic, super tiny, like sound wave shape. And that's what everything flies on. Everything flies on the waves. Like space isn't flat.
Blowing my mind out.
Space, the grid is just a web pattern of sound waves. And I believe that they're probably in the shape of a double helix, and that's why you get DNA. That's why everything kind of has this Fibonacci sequence, because we are these waves, right? So the math of the waves is vibrational through us, and you can find it in anything in nature. So that's what I think. I think the grid is made,
Jesus.
yeah, of a grid of basically sound like just waves. And that's what things travel on. They just glide on the waves. And it's whether that grid is made up in a computer or it's the result of the Big Bang just shaking the shit out of stuff more than we could ever even imagine in our minds, our simple human minds. We can only imagine destruction and an explosion on a certain scale. And the Big Bang, like, probably quadruples that, right? Like, we can't even picture what that was like. So we could literally just be living on the, like when you throw a rock into the lake and the waves break off, and how the violence kind of moves away from the area where the rock hits, but it kind of gets calm where the rock hits quick. That's where we live. We live like in that, like just perfect, like light balance of waves.
That's fucked. I mean, I don't even know what to say to all of that. I feel like I need to sit down with Neil deGrasse Tyson and a cup of tea and just ask him a bunch of questions about that.
The answer's in cymatics, man. Cymatics. There's this scientist, man. And you know what's funny about cymatics? And it's actually a good leeway. So cymatics is kind of a relatively new science, and there's not much on it. There's really not. If you try to like study it, there's really not much you can do for work. So all the research on cymatics, other than what the government hides from us, or the ancient Egyptians were definitely into vibrational shit. But
Okay.
you can create your new science, because there's this dude, Scott Walter. He's the man, right? He created a new science called archaeopetrography, and it's a scientific process used to date and understand the origins of mysterious stone artifacts and sites. Right? And you sent me an email about, did the Minoans discover America?
Mm-hmm.
And he did a whole episode on the History Channel about that, and he's pretty much convinced that, the Minoans were here.
It sounds, but there's so much evidence that everybody was here.
Yeah, what's up with that is like, I think there's something about like America. If Earth has a conscience, America is her like,
Oh, Jesus.
America is her drawing board, right? Where she kind of just
What are you saying? What does that even mean? If the Earth has a conscience, America is her drawing board?
Yeah, and she just...
What?
Think of it, man. Why was America empty? I think about that all the time. And I know it wasn't.
It wasn't.
I know it wasn't empty, but it's
There were
still...
millions of people here.
They should have been able... If there was anything significant, right, going anywhere, they should have been able to beat the Spaniards. Or the Pilgrims.
What?
Actually, everybody. Everybody just came in. It's like the human species at once was like, nope, the human species needs this land.
There's reports of people that are very tall with red hair being in North and South America.
Oh, yeah, the
Thousands of years ago.
Rhesus negatives, right?
I don't know about rhesus negative, but the tale of Viracocha was Incan. It was thousands of years ago, and that was about a bearded man who came across the sea on a boat that looked like a dragon.
Mm-hmm. But why was America empty, man?
It wasn't empty. We've been saying that. There was a Mayan city outside of Atlanta that had like 12,000 people.
Okay, but why? I mean, look, why everywhere else on the world was there like huge numbers of people, right? Why in America was it so?
I don't know what the population difference was. It probably boils down to a couple of discoveries like gunpowder, something else. I don't know.
Well,
You know, maybe it had to do with just the basic philosophy of the people that happen to inhabit those parts of the planet, you know?
I don't know.
There was something about the Europeans that made them want to keep conquering.
And think about it.
Every
America's got everything. Like, you can literally, in a couple plane rides, you can go someplace warm. You can go snowboarding the next day. You can go to the desert. You can go to the mountains.
Buffalo wings.
You can get buffalo wings. You can go to Chicago, and no one knows what that is. It's just something.
Yeah.
It's like whenever I was in Chicago or like Fort Lauderdale or even New York City, I felt like I was in the middle of a gigantic computer chip.
Oh, you've never been to Vegas.
No, not yet. I'm going in March.
What are you doing in March?
It's Mike the Missile's bachelor party.
Oh my God, that's incredibly dangerous.
It's gonna be fun, man. I'm
You're
buying
launching the missile in Vegas?
Yeah, I'm gonna rent a street legal golf cart while I'm down there.
There's such a thing?
I'm gonna get one.
Fuck, kill it, man.
Right?
Where are you staying at?
I demand to stay at the place with the lazy river because I just want to float in it for like 3 days, 3 or 4 days.
Mandalay Bay. Nice
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Sushi there.
Nice. I'm excited, dude. I haven't been on a vacation since I went to Los Angeles, and that was during the Britney Spears craze, and I witnessed it firsthand. And for someone from New Hampshire, it was interesting because I saw the whole Britney Spears thing live and in action, getting chased by paparazzi. It was so set up. It was so set up and so fake, dude. For someone, for someone from, like, I was out of town, you know, and in New Hampshire, are you kidding me? Britney Spears could probably go into Shop and Save, and like maybe 5 or 6 people would even give a shit.
Yeah, right?
So I was, you see it, and it's like it's like right on Hollywood Boulevard. It's like, all right, first of all, it doesn't take a genius to realize that if you lived in Los Angeles for like 3 weeks, you'd probably never go back to Hollywood fucking Boulevard, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a local who's famous. You're not fucking going. She's flying down Hollywood Boulevard. There's helicopters up in the air, and there's all these like black Jeep Liberties chasing her, snapping pictures. It was fake fake as shit, dude. Oh, dude, all the tourists on the street were all taking pictures. And I was, at the time, standing in front of that stupid theater where there's always someone dressed as a superhero.
Oh, really?
Yep, and there was a homeless black man standing on a milk crate with a python around his neck, trying to get everybody to vote for Hillary Clinton. Adam,
Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you, it was like the most crazy thing to see. I saw the Britney Spears, that, all at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was...
That's just more evidence that it's a simulation that we live in. That's insane.
It was fake. It just felt fake as shit. Oh, man, that's something. If you were, like, on mushrooms and you were from New Hampshire and you went to Los Angeles and witnessed what I saw, you would have literally thought you were, like, in Fear and Loathing.
It sounds like the hallucination out of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was insane. It was so fake. But the graffiti out there was really sweet.
What was so good about it out there? How is it different than the East Coast?
East Coast graffiti's pretty shitty. I mean, there's some kids that know what they're doing, but for the most part, it's just letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see, like, more, like, what's the word? Murals?
Murals? Well, that's would probably, there's a lot more muralistic style of graffiti out there just because of the Latin influence.
I would love someone to graffiti my face, like, gigantic in the city somewhere.
You should do it.
With the Fidel Castro hat on that I wear.
Eating a cannoli? No, eating a calzone?
Dude, I don't know why this irritated me, but I was at City Hall the other day, and I came outside of City Hall, and there's this wicked nice parking space right in front of City Hall, and there's all these like really big obnoxious signs that say reserved for the mayor, reserved for mayor, right? And then parked in that spot is like a $65,000 Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then behind that, there's these three guys wearing the most, like, ridiculous freaking suits. All fat old white guys with real big, like, gray hair. And one of them's the mayor. He starts walking to his car. And that was another thing when I was like, what is this, a fucking movie? Like, you know, really? It's fucking ridiculous, dude. I'd like to see the mayor pull up there in a Toyota Tundra with fucking mud all over it and striper bass guts and like on the truck, you know, on the tail bed.
You decided you should run for mayor.
Right? No, they'd be like, yeah, the mayor's striper fishing again.
Up there, you could win on that.
You probably could, yep.
Like, if you were the first candidate up in New Hampshire to not wear a suit and just show up in, you know, like you came out of, you were just got done bass fishing.
Yeah.
You'd absolutely win.
I'll run. Fuck it. I'll run next time.
Wear a dirty Patriots hat.
Yep, and I'll promote it, my campaign, by having graffiti put all over that illegally. I'll be like fighting a case and running for mayor at the same time. Oh.
So what would you do as mayor?
Oh, first thing I would do as mayor would be I'd change the funds around, that's for sure. I'd want to see where money's spent, and that's the first place.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be the first thing I would switch up. And I'll
Where's
tell
all
you
the money going?
I'll tell you the second thing I would do. I'd go right to the little kids. I'd get to the public school plan, and I would change their lesson plans.
Yeah.
It'd be wicked controversial, but I would eliminate so much bullshit, and I would put in so much cool stuff.
You would take some of the advice that Napoleon Hill gave in Outwitting the Devil about the education system.
Oh, yeah. I got to listen to that again. I've listened to it like so many times. It's so good.
I think it's chapter 13 where he starts to talk about the education system. It's really fascinating.
He really touches on everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Like, you know, some people will listen to that, be the first chapter, and say, oh, this is woo-woo, you know, some guy meditated and talked to the devil. Well, you got to remember that this was Albert Einstein's technique, was thought experiments.
It was a thought experiment.
Yeah. I mean,
People get that.
there's something to say, you know, when the most famous physicist ever to live thought of all of his, like, best stuff while he was locked in an apartment by himself.
It comes as no surprise to me. You
No.
gotta be able to focus. Shit.
Yeah. It's so hard in the American culture to focus, dude. I'm tugged and pulled on every second of every day.
Yeah, it is tough. You can, a pipe that runs from your house to your garage could burst over the ridiculous freeze this winter.
Oh.
And you can spend all day fixing it.
Yep.
That's what I did today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you insulate it?
I double insulated it, man. I ran a whole gimmicked up system. It used to be copper. I mean, we could really get nerdy about this if you want. But I double insulated it. I got some 3/4 clean in there in the pit around it.
Nice.
And my theory is if it breaks this time, it wasn't meant to be, because I'm not burying it 4 feet deep. Like, if you saw the space that I'm working in, the idea of digging a 4-foot hole there is just, like, absurd.
Did you pee on the pipe?
What's that?
Did you pee on the pipe?
Did I pee on it?
You always got to pee on the pipe before you cover it.
Before I backfill it?
It's like hitting a ship with a champagne bottle.
Oh, all right. I'll do that, because I haven't backfilled it yet. I just got the bottom of the hole filled with 3/4 clean. I'm going to cover the rest of it tomorrow and lay out the screening.
Nice,
You know
man.
what I mean? Level up my pavers. But,
Hey, we
yeah,
live
yeah,
for
I
our
figure
homes.
If it fails this time, I'm chopping it off and I'm running it above ground on a seasonal basis,
Nice.
which is illegal. I know. As a home inspector, you don't like to hear that stuff, but I'm doing it because that's what's best.
No, man, I'm not a building inspector. I'm a home inspector.
Oh no, man, you're kind of breaking up. Are you on a cell phone?
No, you are.
No, I'm not.
No, I am, but you're on my phone. I'm
So-
talking.
For Dead Peasant Radio, we gotta get you a
Landline.
router extender or
Right.
something.
I
So
know,
you can get
man.
internet down there, and I gotta get a headset so I can hear you better.
Yeah, it's because I'm not talking into the phone. I got you into the microphone. I just got to get a landline, but it's like, fuck, man. My house doesn't. I remodeled my house when I bought it, and I didn't put in any. I ripped out all the landlines. I didn't. I was like,
Why did you do that?
who uses them?
Well, now you need one.
I know, man. Now I gotta call the Comcast to come put in a new line.
Oh, those dicks.
They're never very happy with me. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get that done. But it's good. We're doing them every week. I feel good about that. I'm
Dead peasant.
usually,
The dead peasant.
exhausted from jujitsu while we're recording them, but maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's just consistency is important with anything you do in life, right? If shit ain't consistent, it's never serious.
Yeah, and of course the best episodes are like my favorite episodes are the ones where we have a guest in studio. And there's 3 of us in studio.
Yeah.
Or like the ones where you're out on location, like when you went deep sea fish or you went kayak fishing.
Yeah, I can do more of that stuff. It's tough to find people to get on the podcast because I'm not really, I'm just looking to have conversations. So I'm not really trying to get like people trying to sell books and stuff on here.
Yeah.
So like my target is everyday people or like dudes I want to talk to. And it's tough to get people to come on podcasts. Dude, a lot of people don't know what a podcast is. It surprises me.
We have had good luck though selling books, man.
Yeah.
The only author that's ever been on our show is getting international sales now on Method 1533.
I know. Available at
We have a good track
Amazon.
record.
Available at Amazon.
If somebody does want to come onto our podcast to sell a book, if they're interested,
They can contact me at info@deadpeasantradio.com.
Yeah.
Or you-
pretty much guaranteed your book will get made into a movie too, because that should happen all
Yeah.
the time.
You might get Carlos Constantine. He's the station manager.
Yeah, you're gonna talk to the station manager.
You gotta talk to him, but he's a real dick too.
Now you've had me doing research on this stuff, so I've been looking at different creation myths.
Yep.
And I was reminded of Izanami and Izanagi. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They are the Japanese Shinto gods, I guess.
Really?
Yeah. And I read a book, The Tale of Genji, something like that. I took a whole class on Japanese religion, and I forgot most of it, but Izanami and Izanagi were the male and female creator gods of Japan, and they gave birth to all of the other gods, like the fire god.
Nice.
Maybe I'll have to read about this and report more on the next podcast. But like Izanagi was the female, and she died giving birth to the fire god, and then she went down into hell, and Izanami had to go down after her or something like that. There's some crazy stories, but they basically created Japan by stirring a staff in the ocean and like stirring up the ground, and they created the island of Japan.
Sick.
All of their god deals. So I don't think they even deal with like having a god that created all of Earth. They just deal with the island. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is interesting. Because, they are very unique individuals,
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, it is sort of interesting, and it's. I always was struck by the image of like a male and a female god kind of standing up on a cloud with his giant staff stirring up the water, and that's such a sort of sexual kind of motion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all of creation right there. Get your
Dude.
staff wet.
Get your staff wet. That's what creation's about. It's definitely a step. Well, I don't know, man. I think that I'll just stick with the science right now, with the Big Bang, and I'm just gonna go with that as what I choose as the creation story. It's
Yeah, I like this idea that we live in a simulation.
well, I
You
mean,
know, I like the idea of living to be like 130 years old and dying in a sword fight, and then I wake up and I realize that I'm a 14-year-old person that lives in the year 16 or 6085, and I just had been, I paid a quarter to live this simulation of being an artist on Earth back in the 2000s. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I like that idea.
that's a cool one. That's a cool one. But I
Yeah,
mean,
sticking with it.
even if this is a simulation, right? Everything had to have had a birth. Everything. Everything just didn't start all at once.
Mhm.
So what was that birth, right? Like, are we just like a copy of what made us?
Well, that's what the Gnostics say, right?
You know?
That the demiurge is just a reflection of one part of Sophia, and he thinks he's all of creation, and he's wrong.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, maybe it's all what they're discovering. Maybe none of it exists until we look at it.
Right?
Then what are we?
Yeah, right?
If that's true.
Yeah, it's freaking weird, man. It's deep. It's some deep shit to think about. It makes you feel good after a day of freaking shitty work, and you're like, oh, you know what, man? The world is crazy.
Did you have a day of shitty work?
Dude, it was 99 degrees out. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could take me to the ocean
Yeah.
and feed me ice cold drinks and let me swim in the water when it's 99 degrees out, and by noon I'd be pissed at the sun.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know? I'm a shade chaser, man. I like it sweatshirt weather.
Shade chaser.
I shade chase.
I get into it. I mean, I was digging a ditch all day, literally, but I was also doing it right next to my pool, so it wasn't that big of a problem.
Yeah, did you get that homemade pool heater working?
Well, I tried a rudimentary version of it with some garden hoses, and it worked too well. The water got so hot that the hose melted
Yep.
enough, and it burst, and I had a blowout.
Whoa.
I'm about to try it with 1.25 inch, like, black PVC.
Yep.
But I'm finding maybe you could help me out. Like, they don't make a U-joint. They don't make any elbows out of that size of PVC.
Really?
Yeah. It's pissing me off. So I can't create, like, a pattern, because I want to make, like, a zigzag pattern that I mount on a plywood, like, board, so that I can detach it and put it up on the roof and take it down every season. You know what I mean?
What about PEX?
PEX is all right, but I want something with a wider diameter because I
You
want
can get wide
walk.
PEX.
How wide PEX can I get?
You can get pretty wide PEX.
But it ain't black.
It ain't black, but you could just get just some like high temperature wood stove spray paint and just tack it black.
And would that have the same effect as having a completely made out of black material PVC pipe?
Yeah, it's more the material it's all in how the material itself transfers the heat. Not the color attracts the light, but you know, it depends on what the material is and how it transfers the heat. So it's not really a color thing.
So like PEX will come in 2-inch or something like that?
Dude, I'm pretty sure you can get pretty big PEX. It might not be called PEX, but you know how PEX fittings go together? Like, it's same
That's
tech.
how I just fixed my underground pipe.
Yeah, that shit's the best.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to paint it black. and I thought about covering over the top of it with a sheet of plexiglass, but I'm afraid of making the pipe too hot and melting it.
Yeah, man. Hey, we should do a Dead Peasant Radio home show.
A what show?
Like, we should do a Dead Peasant Radio home, I don't know, home maintenance episode. Dude, everybody has a house. It doesn't matter what religion you follow, what music you follow, what art you buy. It doesn't matter. Everybody has some place they live, right?
Right.
Too many people and I'm a contractor, too many people, in my opinion, are ignoring the science of their structure. And it's a foolish mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't even know how their house breathes.
Yes, people are probably listening to our conversation like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? And like,
Talking about building a passive solar hot water heater for my pool.
Yeah, they're totally turned off by it. Like,
Yeah,
they're like,
I'm sorry. I get really nerdy about that shit.
no. But I wish everyone knew. That would be something I'd do as mayor. Our kids would get out of school knowing how to build houses. I'd make it mandatory.
Well, if you want, I can break it down exactly what I'm doing, because it's really simple shit that you can buy at Home Depot.
Yeah, do it.
All right. So the idea is this: I want to draw cold water out of my pool, and I want to run it into a system of black tubes where it will sit and collect light from the sun, and the black collects apparently more light and more heat, and then the sun will heat up the water that's in that tube. And then when the water is hot enough, when it reaches a certain temperature, I'm going to have a gauge at the other end of that tube, and it will open up and it will spit the warm water back into the pool. And when that water going through hasn't been in that tube long enough to heat up from the sun and has reached a lower temperature level, let's say it's 80 degrees or let's say it's 70 degrees, then it will turn off and it will stop the water and it will all collect in there and it will heat up in the sun until it gets hot again, and it will drain it back in. And I need to figure out, and I've been emailing different people and looking into it. I've been talking to you about some ideas. I need to figure out what exact device that is that will sit at the end of that tube, that will open the valve at the end and close it as the water passing through, drops in temperature.
Yeah, you need
That's the only question I have. The rest is very simple.
So you just need a. So I need to talk into the mic. I'm like a sound guy, and I break all the fucking rules. You need a adjustable temperature relief valve.
Okay.
That's what
And
you
what
need.
is that normally used for?
So it's normally used for the top of hot water heaters, boilers. These new natural gas on-demand hot water heaters have them. It's just set so if the water in the system gets above, I believe, 220 degrees, the temperature pressure relief valve will spit out that hot water because it will start building pressure once it goes to steam,
But I need to be able to set it so that it's more like 90 degrees.
Yeah, so that's something, there's definitely got to be something out there, dude. 100%. There's got to be.
We'll figure that out in a later episode.
Yeah.
But my basic contraption is not. It's all. So you get yourself a little pump, which can be just a simple. Little pond pump.
You can get that at Walmart. Yeah.
Right, and you zip tie that to your ladder leg, right? So it's out of the way, but it's held down underwater a little bit, where the water's a little cooler than the stuff on top. So you're grabbing some of the colder water, right? And that has an intake into it, and that basically goes right from the top of that to a garden hose type attachment that can, just go right across your patio to where you're by a series of plumbing adapters to adapt up from a garden hose size to an 1.25 or 2-inch packs, right?
Yeah.
So there's 5 or 6 pieces that you got to get there, but your local Home Depot or plumbing nerd ought to be able to put it together for you.
Yeah.
And then that PEX goes into like a zigzag pattern, really tight, that's zip tied or using those little copper plumbing pipe lifts underneath it, mounted to a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of plywood. And you can make a whole football field worth of those zigzag panels and make connectors between the two of them and heat up as much water as you want, really.
And if you had to, you could even go one step further and make a 3 feet by 6 foot wall. You just get a piece of plywood, paint it black, and glue pennies to the whole face of it, and then reflect the sun off of that to your hot water heating system.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lengthy process.
Dude, that shit.
But I like how it would look.
That will work, dude.
But the way I'm describing it, you can picture like making these panels, and you could hang them up on your fence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can put them up on the roof of your deck or on the roof of your garage.
Roof of your house,
you need off of the last panel that you have, you just have another garden hose that runs, comfortably across your patio. And if you want to be smart, you can stick the end of it at the bottom of your pool so that the hot water is going into the bottom of your pool, or you can just have it spraying in there.
Nice, dude.
So that's what I'm working on doing for my pool. And if the thing works enough, you could see how even in the winter you might be able to like heat enough water to be able to take a shower in the garage. You know
Nice.
what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Hey, you gotta, when you're building this, you gotta tweet the steps of it.
Take pictures.
Yeah, and tweet it and name it like DPR's DIY.
Yeah.
Solar heat
right.
project. Yeah,
I will
man.
do that. And you got to help me figure out what was the name of that device?
Adjustable temperature pressure relief valve.
I need an adjustable temperature relief pressure valve that will go on and off at 90 degrees and like 70 degrees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to figure that out. We need to get a scientist on it.
All right, man. Well, if anyone listening knows what we can do, info at Dead Peasant Radio. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make one just for to have outside. Have warm water by my grill.
I'm gonna talk to Uncle Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll know what's up.
He's an expert on cooling, heating systems.
Yeah, he'll know what's up. Definitely. Cool, man. Hey, it's been an hour, dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat some chicken now.
An hour podcast is a good amount of time because it doesn't take forever to bounce or upload.
What song are you gonna play at the end of this podcast?
Oh, I don't know. I'll find something. Maybe something old. Set Us Free. Some old
Set Us
stuff.
Free would be cool. Yeah, man. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Dude, what's crazy is that was like 12 years ago when I did that song.
Man, that's so crazy. Are you serious? That was before our nephew was born.
I was like 19 and a half years old, 20 years old.
It's good shit, too. I bet it still holds up.
It's funny. All right, man. Well, we'll see you. You'll hear us next Thursday. Or you probably get them by Friday. They're usually on YouTube by Saturday or Sunday. And
Right.
keep
All
listening.
creation is about keeping your staff wet.
We're going to get some guests on, too. I'm going on a vacation. I'm going to try to get Marty, the one-man party, to talk about the times when he lived with the circus.
No shit, yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of scientists, he might be able to help us out with our hot water system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to try to get Dirt Johnson back on for another hunting podcast.
That'd be great.
And we got to get Mike the Missile back on.
Yep, and we're going to be getting together. We'll podcast when we're together. Those are always good.
Yeah.
I might drive some liquor into you and make you pull out the acoustic guitar or something.
Dude, I need to get way more practice time, kid. It sucks.
Yeah, it's the perfect thing to do on a podcast while we're talking.
All right. Yeah, we need to get you live and on the mics because, it's just nice every once in a while.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I will talk to you soon, and I will be on top of everything. Until
Right,
next
keep it
Thursday.
halfway.
Peace.
These rhyme rap artists got another thing coming. You see me on the mic and you never see me running from these cats thinking they got better raps than he. I disagree. Ain't nobody getting the best of this Yankee.
It's a blessed event. All blunts they out and burning. Gonna take more than me to stop this world from churning. And it's for certain that when we high, we constantly observing all these roads to take. And it's our life at stake. Want some hot shit, simple the name, fuck the fame. Get dirty like my chrome does from acid rain. Second guess me in the cypher cause I'm out of your range. I put a bug up in your brain just to study your game. It's all about the industry, getting mixed up upon delivery. Got the knowledge to let it be. And know that one day God is gonna set us free now. Right now.
I rock the mic fictitious, my name is Aloysius the Third. Fuck what you heard, it's my world. And I do what I want, legal or not. Got mad respect for all cops. Catch me if you can, and we'll see where we stand. The immediate plan is we feed when we can. I don't need fans, I need mutual respect. When I move, I kick cans, so you know where we're met.
We're spitting facts on tracks and we're blazing our sacks. The limit's gonna explode cause we're pushing it to the max.
Apocalyptic, blood music murder scene. Artist found dead, head shot from the guillotine. This industry don't take style lightly. Mistaken for a piece of meat and that's put politely. Yes, they so precisely, perform nicely. Poses get fired and start looking for a wifey. So I play it spicy and I keep it cool in this cutthroat world. I'll cutthroat
It's
you.
all about the industry, getting mixed up upon delivery. Got the knowledge to let it be. And know that one day God is gonna set us free now. Right now.
Conversational raps of a higher magnitude. Give me my snaps to get the fuck out my shed, dude. Relentless, if this was weight, you couldn't bench this. With your feeble attempts to monkey wrench my game. Cat stepping up, I just take aim. Like click, clack, black, put your dinner in your lap. I'm just waiting for beef. I'm fucking armed to the teeth. Hot when I hit the street.
Let me show you. Right now. Let me show you.
Who you think you're dealing with? Think I get pissed cause you're running your lips? I don't give a shit, so you better back down. LFD's in the motherfucking house.
My name's Bionic, I smoke mad chronic. I know it's illogic, but who the hell are you? A toxicologist? No matter which shoes that you following, I hear that you're hollering my name. And it don't mean a fucking thing if it don't got that swing. And I hope that you bring all the dope that you can. So LFD thugs can't smoke up all your blunts. We're always on the hunt for the dankest. It's all about the industry, getting mixed up upon delivery. Got the knowledge to let it be. And know that one day God is gonna set us free now.
Right now.
Who you think you're dealing with? Who you think you're dealing with? Who you think you're dealing with?
Who do you think you're